Hey guys, what's up? Hobo here. Now, here we are in 2023, and man, 2022 was a disaster for my channel. I blame that lack of creativity on lack of a job, but not to get too personal here, I just lost that job again. Well, in any case, it only seems fair then that the game we look at for the start of the year is all about finding jobs. Today, we're looking at B-Movie Game on the Xbox 360. Now, B-Movie is kind of an interesting beast. Most people tend to either hate it or know it for the memes more than the movie itself, and heck, Jerry Seinfeld has even apologized for the movie. But what about the game? Does the game deserve a reprieve, or should it be hated too? Let's find out. It's time to hobo up!
The story for B-Movie Game is basically that of, well, the B-Movie. Basically, Barry B. Benson is not happy with his lot in life and thinks there has to be more to being a bee. After going out on a flight with the Pollyjocks, he breaks the rule of no talking to humans and befriends the human Vanessa. Later, Barry learns that humans are stealing the honey that bees toil to make and goes to sue them. Like I said, basically the story of the movie but with extra fluff added because video games. It's fine, it works, let's just move on. Gameplay for B-Movie Game is actually divided between inside the hive and outside the hive. We'll start with the inside. Basically, you'll need to do a quota of jobs to unlock the next section of the story. Some of these jobs are dirt simple, others are a bit more complicated. Each time you finish a chapter of the story, more jobs unlock, with jobs even having a bonus trial if you finish all the jobs ahead of it. It mostly boils down to you doing as much as you can until you hit the fail state rather than hit the time limit, which a lot of those jobs have. To be honest, doing the jobs is kind of tedious, but your journey around the hive is a bit better. It's a large area with two sections. New Hive City up top, Hunnox below. New Hive City is where you find most of the jobs. These include race car driver, delivery guy, car mechanic, taxi driver to mention just a few. Down in Hunnox, there's a lot less in the way of interesting landscapes, but the roads are winding all over the place and it's easy to get lost, not to mention being much tighter and only 3 jobs being here. As for getting around town, Barry has 3 options. His own 2 feet, being the slowest, hovering, which is a bit faster, and then driving. Barry can get into literally any car, even people's driveways and even the ones people are already driving. Now, the rules of the road don't really exist here. You can drive recklessly if you want, there's no penalty. You can't run anyone over and they already say they called the police but they never actually show up. Also, you can hit stuff while you're driving and get paid for it. Basically, the game rewards you for driving dangerously. The only other game I can think that does that was Pimp My Ride. And no, we are not doing that again. Back on the jobs. Some are kind of fun, others are annoying. Take for example, the car mechanic. It's dirt simple, basically just doing button sequences and a time limit. The only penalty for missing is having to press the actual button. And you don't get dock time for missing buttons, so this is pretty easy. I guess if you're unfamiliar with the controller layout you might struggle, but otherwise it's hard to fail. But then, there's the race car driver. Yeah, they shoehorned in a kart racer, whose items come in first. But Mario Kart this ain't. For one thing, the game loves giving you items that are useless to you, like giving you the oil slick in last place. Also, the rubber banding, or lack thereof. Well, you don't get rubber banding, but your enemies sure do. See, if your enemies get too far ahead of you, game over, you can't catch up. But they can never get too far ahead of them because they always find a way to catch up. I can't even get past second level because they always get the exact item they need to rip first place from me and take it from me. Yeah, like I said, couldn't get past part 2. Anyway, I won't torture you and talk about all the jobs, let's just move on to the outside portion. When you get outside, it's kind of like a flight sim. Barry flies around doing objectives. Can be things like take pictures, pollinate flowers, or whatever the game tells you to do. Of course, there's those humans to contend with. This is where you use the annoy meter. Fly around their face and dodge as they swing at you. Dodge enough times and fill up the meter, and then you push them over the edge, do the quick time events, and watch the chaos ensue. Other sections include Chase or Follow, where Barry just has to dodge his way around in an on-rail section. Earlier I mentioned quick time events. Yeah, this game is in love with those because not one section of this game doesn't have them. Heck, most boss fights just do a combination of dodge attacks, annoy meter, quick time events in that order. The chase sequences have quick time events out the wazoo. But it's not always safe to fly. See, bees can't fly when they're wet, so of course there's rain to contend with. A lot of it. Flying in the rain too long and you're dead. But Barry has a secret weapon. Bee reflexes. Your bee reflexes are basically a slowdown power that allows you to fly around despite the rain. Watch out though, it doesn't really last that long. It's mainly just to get you from safe point to safe point. Along the way, you also find wind tunnels. Get in one and you get carried away. But don't expect a free ride, you'll have to dodge around obstacles. But the damage they do seems random. Sometimes you hit one thing and you die. Other times you can hit multiple things and be fine. I have no idea what determines the damage. I think it's just a dice roll. One nice thing is that your B reflex meter fills up while you're in them, and they often contain nectar drops for you to collect, so that's nice. And then, there's the combat. Enemies fly around shooting at you. This is super simplistic. Just fly around, wait for the box to turn green, and then pull the right trigger. I never died once during any of these. They are almost insultingly simple. Your shots always home in and never miss. You can't even shoot until the box turns green, and then you can shoot several enemies at once. Not to mention, shots always kill enemies in one hit. Clearly, this was an afterthought. While you're flying around outside, there are bonus collectibles. There's the nectar drops, which are the currency, and we'll get to what you can buy later, the statues and the picture spots for the museum, and actually that's basically it. Sometimes the pictures are required for a mission, other times they're extra, and it's hard to know which is which. Oh, remember those humans I was just talking about? Well, not all of them use the annoy meter. Take Ken here, for example. But hey, look at him with those shoes on his hands. You know, that's kind of silly. Maybe he's not so bad. Maybe he just wants to make a friend. Let's try it. Hey, Ken. What's up, buddy? You know, you are in really good shape. I gotta respect. You know what? Screw that guy. Yeah, so when you fail a QuickTime event, you die. And we'll be getting back to that in a moment, just you wait. So back inside the hive, the money you get is largely for things like costumes for Barry, cars to drive around with, and even video games, which I didn't actually get any of, and you know what? I've held off long enough. Let's start complaining. Let's start with the inside of the hive like before. The things you can buy serve no purpose. The costumes are just extra for the sake of extra, and the cars, while they handle differently from the regular cars, aren't much better. See, the game doesn't remember where you park like in GTA. When you park a car to do a job or something, and then come back out, the car despawns when you come back. And those cars you bought, you have to go all the way back to Barry's garage to get them again, and you go right back there when you do a mission. If there was a way to summon the car, that'd be one thing, but there isn't, which makes the cars, and the money as a whole, largely pointless. You know, what would be a better use for the money? How about an upgrade system? Or, maybe if a job is just too much for you, you can use money to skip it. Those would be much better uses for the money than cosmetic crap, and Hunex is really confusing to navigate with all those winding roads. Sure, there are signs to help point you to the jobs, but for the taxi mission in particular, they don't help. And the elevator ride between them, well, that's just a glorified loading screen. Not much to talk about there. Back outside the hive, the missions go from somewhat enjoyable to downright annoying, the latter of which is best described right here. So it's a picture-taking mission. Okay, fine. But after you take that first picture, enemies pop up. And these enemies, you can't fight. You just have to avoid them. But they love hanging out right on top of what you need to take pictures of. So you have to find a spot where they won't enter your hitbox, and then wait for them to leave and take the picture. Which they can interrupt, by the way. So you get the pictures, and then you have to go save your friend. Now, you have to reach a certain point within a time limit while still dodging these guys, and when you trigger their QTE, the timer doesn't stop. And if you die during this, it respawns you during the same QuickTime event, only you've teleported elsewhere, and the clock still doesn't pause. After you finally save your friend, there's a rain section, only thankfully the guys are no longer there, so it's a cake by comparison. That mission wasn't hard, just really annoying. Combine all that with the tedium of the jobs, and I just couldn't finish this game. I threw in the towel. Now, I did beat the game as a kid, but I'm wondering how I found the time and patience to do it. Maybe later I'll go back and finish it and just say that I did, but it probably won't be anytime soon. Regarding presentation, the game is mixed. Visually, it's sound, but it's not pushing the hardware of the Xbox 360. The raindrops look good, and the models of the humans are... well, they nail the art style of the movie and DreamWorks as a whole, but I don't necessarily mean that in the best of ways. Some of these humans are just fugly, and these models tend to get recycled. The sound design is not as good. Inside the hive, it's total noise pollution. The engines of the cars, the pedestrians, things breaking, and there's the announcer. Oh my god, shut your trap, dude! He never stops talking, and you cannot turn him off. And you know who else never shuts up? Our hero. A lot of his lines get repeated a lot. The music is nice, though. That new Hive City music tends to stay in your head long after you want it there, though. And then, there are the cutscenes. A lot of them are in engine, so stuff is still happening in the background. The pre-rendered cutscenes do look good, though. The voice acting, when the game isn't shoving it in your face, is also pretty good. Now, I'm not sure if Jerry Seinfeld came back to play Barry, or if they got a sound-alike, but he sounds just like his movie counterpart. Others do a good job, too, so that's probably the best part of the presentation, aside from the music.
So that's B-Movie game on Xbox 360. How is it? Let's look at it and see. How's the gameplay? a very, very mixed bag. Inside the hive does tend to wear out its welcome pretty quickly with all those tedious jobs. The driving around is fun for a while, but even that starts to wear out its welcome. And then outside the hive is better, although the constantly having to avoid stuff gets annoying pretty quickly, and then it's just, quick time event hell with all the QTEs you have to do constantly. And, but there is some fun to be had here. Also, the wind tunnels, hit or miss, sometimes literally. And then the presentation is better. I mean, the voice acting is fine for what it is when they're not beating you over the head with it. The music is fine, and that announcer, he can go burn. The graphics do look pretty good too. Those raindrops look nice. So, you know what, guys? This is really, really, really right in the line between decent and Band of the Band. But you know what? I have some childhood nostalgia for it, so decent. Well, that's going to do it for me this time. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell if you like notifications, and come back next month when we leave our fate to the dice. Until then, this is the Bargman Hobo saying be brave, dare to play. I'll see you guys next time. Hobo out!